Hello everyone, how's it going? So in this video today, I'm going to be going over my 5 golden rules and principles to follow when you're trying to get stronger and improving your max strength. And if you find this video useful, please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, because I've put my life savings into this YouTube channel, and if it's not a success, I'm going to be homeless and out in the street. So any like, subscribe or any form of support would be much appreciated. So these are very simple and basic principles, and you should be applying them to your kind of just normal training when, you know, improving your strength isn't your absolute priority, but we should always be trying to get stronger. And also when you are trying to actively improve like your max strength numbers on like your big lifts. So the first thing is you need to make sure you're adding more weight. This might be a given, but when we talk about progressive overload, that can come in many different forms. It can come in the reps that you do, the number of sets, and obviously the weight. But when we are specifically training to get stronger, the absolute most important thing, and the only real thing that is going to make you stronger, is by adding weight to the bar. Obviously, it's not going to be every single week or every single session, and sometimes your progressions will have to be adding more reps or more sets maybe. But that should always lead to you adding more weight rather than just continually trying to increase the number of reps you can do with whatever poundage, or try and do that weight for that reps over more sets. So make sure that you're always trying to add weight to the bar at whatever rep range you're doing. Next, you want to make sure that you're focusing on heavy compound lifts. So your compound movements are going to be the exercises that you can use the most weight with. And this is going to require the most motor neuron recruitment, easy for me to say, which is just basically a fancy way of saying that it requires more of your muscles to work to lift the weight. If your training is consistent of a lot of isolation exercises, you're going to be using a lot of smaller and lighter weights. And we've already established, to make your body stronger, you want to be trying to lift as much weight as possible. So doing isolation exercises over compound movements is going to be a little bit counterproductive to that. You're also going to get a lot of crossover between muscle groups when you're doing compound exercises, so you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck. For example, when you do a bench press, you're obviously working predominantly your chest, but then you're also getting a bit of shoulder and tricep working as well. So it's effectively training all three. Whereas if you're doing like a flying movement, then that's only going to be working your chest. So by sticking to the bench press, you're going to be saving a lot more time because you're training 3 muscles at once rather than having to go around and train each muscle with individual movements to get the required amount of volume that you need. So in a nutshell, I would say your exercise selection is very important when you're trying to get stronger, which leads me on to heavy squats and deadlifts. There is absolutely no substitute to these exercises. These are the king and queen of your lifts in the gym, and I've not quite decided which one's which. Not only are they the exercise you will definitely be able to use the most weight with, they're going to cross over to all your other exercises, and they are just like truly full body movements. Because when you're under those big heavy weights, your whole body and every single muscle just comes together because it needs to help you lift those big massive weights. And what you'll find is all your other movements, all your presses and chin-ups and that type of thing, they'll all be their strongest when your squats and deadlifts are around their strongest. And that's because your body would need to be at its absolute strongest to be able to lift, again, those big massive weights that you're using on those exercises, and also the hormonal response that it elicits as well. The next thing I would say is key is try not to stress too much about volume. And this goes both ways. A lot of times when you're strength training, you will get people who are just like really paranoid about doing too much volume because they're too scared that it's going to tire them out, and that they need to save their energy to go and do all their big lifts. And although there is some truth to that, and I can see where you're coming from, your body can handle a lot more workload than you realise. So it doesn't need to be like super low volume where you're going in and maybe doing like 3 or 4 exercises a session. On the other hand, although we want to make sure that we are still doing enough volume, it is really important that we do focus on quality rather than quantity when we're trying to get stronger. I would try and narrow your focus and pick a few key exercises and just really focus on trying to get stronger on them. Then you're going to be using more weight on those exercises, and that's going to make you stronger. And then especially all your exercises you're using as like accessory exercises to help your main lift, the better you're getting at them, the better crossover it's going to have to your main lifts. And lastly, maybe most importantly, make sure you're giving 100% effort and keeping high intensity. You should be doing this no matter what you're training for, but I'd probably argue it is most important in your strength training. You are going to have to push yourself to and past your limits if you're wanting to get stronger. And from a mindset standpoint, you've got to come into every session switched on and prepared with a clear focus and goal on what you're going to do in that session. And you need to go into attack mode and go to war to make sure that you're getting all the lifts that you want to do that day. If you just kind of go in and half-arse it and think, oh, I'll maybe be a bit stronger today, I might not be, we'll just see what happens, I can almost guarantee you it's just not going to happen. So there's my 5, as I said, very simple and basic golden rules to follow when you are trying to get stronger. Just because they're simple and basic doesn't mean that they're not effective. I guarantee you, if you follow these, you will 100% get stronger. There's my camera just died. See, I can't even afford my electricity. So yeah, if you did find the video useful, please give it a like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. If you are interested in coaching, my inquiry form is linked in the description, as is all my social media profiles, if you want to go and have a little look on there. And then other than that, that's me, and I'll see you in the next video.